Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're skipping the usual agenda and diving headfirst into what honestly feels like a perfectly scripted, chronological espionage thriller. But everything we're about to cover, it is absolutely real. We're unpacking the reality of India's research and analysis wing, famously known as R&AW. We'll be looking at the massive intelligence triumphs, the devastating blind spots, and the structural evolutions of one of the world's most secretive agencies.
Okay, let's dive into this. When you hear intelligence agency, you probably picture high-speed chases and explosive gadgets, right? But the actual reality of international espionage is often found in the incredibly mundane. A discarded lock of hair, a simple receipt for winter clothing. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how these tiny, seemingly insignificant details gathered in the shadows have quite literally shaped monumental geopolitical events over the last few decades.
Section 1. Origins in the Shadows, the inciting incident. So, R&AW wasn't just born out of thin air because someone thought it'd be cool to have a spy agency. It was actually a desperate necessity, forged in the fires of catastrophic historical intelligence failures that left the entire nation incredibly vulnerable. Looking at this timeline, you can really see the pressure building. Prior to 1968, India relied heavily on the Intelligence Bureau, or the IB, but severe blind spots led to completely devastating surprises. First, during the 1962 war with China, where massive troop movements were just missed. And then, shockingly, just 3 years later, during the 1965 war with Pakistan, India's leadership realized they were practically operating in the dark on the global stage. These back-to-back failures forced then-Prime Minister Indira Gandhi to take decisive action. She tasked a brilliant and highly experienced officer named R&AW with building a specialized intelligence agency from the absolute ground up.
So the crucial point is how they fundamentally changed the game here. They drew a hard line in the sand. The existing Intelligence Bureau was now strictly restricted to internal borders and domestic security. R&AW, on the other hand, was explicitly dedicated to external operations. We're talking gathering foreign intelligence, building international networks, and reporting directly to the Prime Minister. This strict separation was genius, honestly. It mandated R&AW's complete, undivided focus on external threats without getting bogged down by internal, domestic politics.
Section 2. The 1971 Masterstrokes, Rising Action and Triumph. To see exactly how capable they became in such a short amount of time, let's walk through the incredible Hashim Qureshi operation. Under intense secrecy, R&AW had quickly established a formidable international network of spies, intercept stations, and double agents. When an Indian plane was hijacked to Lahore in 1971, it looks like a major security crisis. But, well, R&AW had actually uncovered this hijacking plot by the National Liberation Front way beforehand. Instead of just arresting the hijacker, Hashim Qureshi, they flipped him into a double agent. They allowed him to carry out the hijacking, land the plane in Lahore, and after all the passengers were perfectly safe, the plane was burned. And this brilliantly illustrates their strategy. Why orchestrate this? Because this highly publicized crisis gave India the perfect, undeniable international justification to completely block Pakistani flights over Indian airspace. This masterstroke effectively severed the crucial air connection between East and West Pakistan right before the 1971 war.
Section 3. Politics and Nuclear Secrets. The Abyss.
Now, the world of espionage is incredibly volatile, and sometimes the biggest shifts come from within. In 1977, the political landscape in India completely flipped. A new government under Prime Minister Morarji Desai took power and immediately initiated strict inquiries into R&AW, suspecting the agency had been used for domestic political interference by the previous administration. This change in government severely sidelined R&AW's leadership. It led to the early retirement of its founder, R&AW, and the dismantling of crucial foreign operations right at the exact moment a massive, existential threat was emerging next door.
But even with these new restrictions holding them back, the agents in the field pulled off some absolutely unbelievable micro-operations. Case in point, the Khan Research Laboratory in Rawalpindi, Pakistan. Indian agents suspected a nuclear weapons program was brewing there, but they couldn't get inside the highly guarded facility. So what did they do? They tracked the facility's scientists down to a local barber shop. Agents patiently built relationships there, gathered the discarded hair of the scientists right off the floor, and smuggled it back to India. Testing that hair confirmed high levels of neutrino radiation. It was undeniable proof. The nuclear program was real.
And then came the ultimate missed opportunity. Believe it or not, an insider offered R&AW a complete blueprint of Pakistan's entire nuclear program for a mere $10,000. 10 grand. But due to strict political caution, a desire not to escalate tensions, and an overall distrust of the agency at the time, the Prime Minister halted the purchase. He even declined a proposed offer from Israel to launch a preemptive strike on the facility using Indian refueling bases. The intelligence was perfectly executed on the ground, but the political will to act on it simply wasn't there. And honestly, it gets worse. During a completely routine phone call, Prime Minister Morarji Desai accidentally leaked this intelligence to Pakistan's General Zia-ul-Haq, casually mentioning, "We know what you were doing in Khan Research Laboratories." Actually, it was just one sentence, but that single fateful sentence immediately compromised R&AW's entire network in Pakistan. It launched a massive internal hunt by Pakistani forces, absolutely devastating the deeply embedded spy network that had taken years to build up. Section 4. Victory at Siachen. Resurgence. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how a completely mundane commercial transaction can dictate the outcome of a military conflict. Fast forward to 1984. R&W has been revitalized, they're back in the field, and this time, the battlefield is the freezing, unforgiving heights of the Himalayas. R&W agents in London tracked a highly suspicious order for 150 thermal suits, rated for -50 degrees Celsius, placed at a local garment shop. They quickly identified that this order came directly from the Pakistani military. By cleverly managing to delay the delivery of these coats, R&W gave the Indian Army a crucial head start. Tracking this simple clothing order triggered Operation Magdut, allowing India to preemptively airlift troops and secure the incredibly strategic Siachen Glacier before Pakistan even had the winter gear to deploy.
Section 5. The Kargil intelligence failure, the devastating setback.
But, success in this field is never permanent. Between 1998 and 1999, the warning signs were literally flashing bright red. 500 specialized winter boots bought in Brussels, unmanned aerial vehicle surveys of the Kargil sector, 2 entirely new military battalions stationed in the region. There was even a critical aviation research center monitoring plane that was reportedly taken for a joyride instead of flying its actual surveillance route. All these puzzle pieces existed. But because of a massive, systemic lack of coordination between different agencies, the dots were never connected. This massive systemic blunder led directly to the surprise incursion and the heavy, tragic casualties of the Kargil War.
Section 6. The Modern Security Apparatus. Resolution.
The heavy price paid in Kargil was a brutal wake-up call that forced a complete, top-to-bottom overhaul of India's security and intelligence frameworks following a comprehensive review committee in 1999. Let's move to and see how this builds into the modern flow. Step 1. The National Security Advisory Board, where experts analyze raw data from all the different agencies. Step 2. The Strategic Policy Group, where department heads formulate strategy based on that data. And finally, Step 3. The National Security Council, which ensures critical, vetted information flows logically and directly to the Prime Minister. This whole 3-tier system is designed so that no single piece of intelligence, like an order of winter boots, is ever ignored in an isolated silo again.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with something to chew on. We've seen how intelligence can absolutely save a nation or catastrophically fail it. Will this modern, highly structured apparatus successfully prevent the intelligence failures of the past, or, as technology rapidly evolves and the world becomes infinitely more complex, are entirely new blind spots currently forming in the shadows, just waiting to surprise us once again? Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. Keep questioning the details, and I'll see you in the next explainer.